Bienvenidos and welcome, Challengers League time, y'all. It is playoffs week, day numero dos. It's your boy Rafa, Desirux, and Beatdown Boulevard bringing you the pain, but not in a bad way, in a good way. This is going to be good pain, you know, because it's the good pain of fantastic games coming your way. And before we get any further and further, I just want to address something. First of all, Beatdown, what happened earlier before the pre-show? I saw some camera issues going down, you know? What happened?
Man. It happened in slow motion and everything.
Mike, it could not have been in slow motion. It sounded like it fell really quickly. My camera sits on a shelf, essentially. Artificial wall, my dad made it. Long story. Point is, I was going around to set up lights a little differently, and I bumped into the shelf, and I'm listening to music, because, you know, we're getting prepped for the show. I'm hyping up. And then I look over, I'm like, hey, why is my camera not on the shelf? And then I hear you guys saying, like, oh my god, what happened to Beatdown? I was like, oh.
You know, Rafa, I don't think that's good pain. I think the camera falling is pretty much bad pain right there.
No, you see, the thing is, my camera's fallen, like, no cap, 7 or 8 times this last year, and nothing has happened. It's used to it.
Okay, I'm going to go on a tangent. Rafa, roll this.
Yeah. I mean, I was going to say, I think the camera was trying to stabilize itself after some of the incredibly intense games that we had yesterday.
Hey,
Even the community knows what was up. As everyone, I mean everyone, the whole world and their mamas was tweeting about that Team Liquid Challengers and Wild Card series yesterday. We've had multiple members of the community talking about that Game 3. And I know none of us were casting it. In fact, I don't know if one of y'all was on the other show, but we were definitely watching it. Oh, man.
I watched it, and I was losing myself so many times. I was just screaming at my computer. It's the first game in a long time where I've actually had that visceral reaction, watching Lens flash forward on Draven and try and take out Arrow.
Crazy.
There were so many big plays in that game.
Dude, it was unreal. Like, I tuned in during Game 3, but it is ridiculous what Lens and the rest of Wildcard were doing. They ended up losing in the end, but that is, I think it was Cubby who said it on air, best series of the split.
Yep. Kangas even called the Game 3 best game of the year to date.
Might be unanimous between us all, man. That was great.
Yeah.
You know... Yeah, you're right. I
just gotta let that one go.
Be, you know, a little.
What else do we got?
I mean, there's that one AoE gold game. I don't remember who they were playing against. Maybe Dignitas, but it was a super long game. And then there's the pause. The pause that happened right at the end.
I remember that.
Was it Golden Guardians?
You were casting that, Rafa, right?
I was, and me and Josh were just. Oh, we were stuck in like 20 minutes just for like, yeah. But even the coach for Team Liquid Challengers, Spawn, talking about how proud he was of his team. I mean, they know that Wildcard is a opponent that you cannot underestimate. You know, and one other thing, I don't know if we have Bradley's tweet in. Oh, there it is. I found this tweet very, very, very hilarious because I wonder if the intention was like, listen, you have to get better at playing against the Garen matchup. We cannot just rely on banning it because we're going to, you know.
There are a lot of other good champions that need to get banned that are not named Garen.
Yeah, we had the whole, it was the LS discussion where he was saying, like, why not just ban it away? You know, it was a gamble to just, like, keep it up and say, yes, we can play against it. They had some pretty smart draft moves where they were trying to dance around Camille. But ultimately, Wildcard got their way, and Team Liquid were able to best them at their best. That's a big win for me.
Yeah, even Taco chiming in as well about his team. He knows how close that series was. But I do want to go back to the conversation of, you know, what is the purpose of Challengers League? And I think Spawn, you know, I like the mindset of saying, you know, it's not necessarily about winning Challengers League. It's about developing. And if you're giving your players an opportunity, even if they don't like having to play against Moose Haters Garen 3 games in a row, you get better at the matchup because you probably don't get a chance to play against Garen at all in solo queue. And this is that's incredible.
I want a Rafa call of this because you always like to put in the full names where it's just like Aaron Fake God Lee takes down Aaron Lee.
I never realized Aaron's name was Aaron
Me
That
neither.
is
What? I had a whole segment with this, Rafa. Where I interviewed him, and the whole thing, why he puts it as Aaron, is someone else actually had his real name, and they kept mixing them up.
Oh,
wow.
Interesting.
Before his name is actually Aaron.
Oh,
It is.
Grogo tweet.
I knew it.
Hang on, I have to lean a little closer.
You have to squint a little bit. I get you. No, I mean 2-0. They 2-0'd EG because that was the
shout out
first
to
series
producers.
on Challenger stream yesterday, and I mean they kind of smashed them.
Yeah.
Fear being that team that we. I mean, when we talk about like the top provisional teams, we were expecting Wildcard to be the ones to continue the performances and for Fear to sputter out and falter. And wow, we were wrong. We had that backwards. Fear look better than ever, and they ended up going for that top 4 finish. And like, it's no surprise to me at all that EGC had lost to them.
Yeah, Fear as a team. I mean, we know that from the early, ridiculously good. But it comes to expectations of some of these players who this is their first official split starting as a player in Challengers League, before it was named Academy. And even though they're on a provisional team, they still count as, most of these players are rookies. And we've had some impressive rookies across the entire league so far, which is why we started, putting together some honorary teams that we would put if we had to only draft, rookies from the Challengers League. So, for example, mine is mostly composed of Fear members because I have been incredibly impressed.
Nice.
I think we've all had at least one Fear member on our roster. I also filled out Masu from FlyQuest Challengers, who we will be seeing later today against Immortals Challengers, and then APA, who was victorious against Wildcard in their series yesterday.
So the big thing for me too is that we'll see mine after, but a lot of us put, at least from what I saw, put Masu as their pick for AD carry, which is valid. Masu has been great this split, especially since he joined FlyQuest Challengers. But I kind of had second guesses, especially because Lens is a player who I think we've been sleeping on a little bit. And yesterday, that just proved to be even more true with the incredible performance he ended up putting on. But yeah, you see, I also have a 3 out of 5 Fear members on your team.
Are you about to show us the Lens? And then it's
No. I really had to think about that one. Like, it wasn't an easy decision for me in the AD carry spot. And Lens maybe took that personally because yesterday was insane. But yeah, looking like this roster I chose, I put Yukino, especially because he's been an exciting player for me. Like, saw him last year when I was cast a semi-pro and what was called amateur and things like that. And he looked pretty promising, and especially his growth this year has been super impressive. And he's the youngest player we have in the league right now.
So I didn't get to make one of these, but I do want to throw a name in there in the support role, Kim Down. If you look from summer to spring, I think he is the most improved player in isolation, just going from UCI to Team Liquid and what he's been able to develop for that. I just wanted to give him a shout out there because, a lot of Trevor hype absolutely deserved, but Kim Down would have been my support right there.
Yeah, I know Cubby, when he got a chance to help out with the Team Liquid Scouting Grounds event, and they were going through all the support options. The final 2 were Diamond, who is a player that is very experienced over multiple years playing in the NA League of Legends scene, but also Kim Down, the only other support that, has not really had a full starting split in Challengers League. And one of the things that Cubby remarked on is like, listen, like Kim Down definitely, like if just from right now, Diamond is a way better support than Kim Down, but I think Kim Down has a lot of potential. And that Renata Glass game in Game 3 actually made so many clutch and saving moments for Team Liquid to stay in. But we need to roll on to the standings here and check out where the rest of the teams do lie, as this was the conclusion of the regular season where all the teams stacked up. And that is how we got from point A in the standings to point B in our playoffs bracket, as it's been a doozy. We've already had some of our upper bracket matches completed, where C9 Challengers will be taking on Team Liquid Challengers sometime later this week. And then over in the lower bracket, already some of the teams have been sent into their last lifeline. Now, just looking ahead, is there any matches that really stand out to you as must-watches, starting with you, Beatdown?
So from what we have coming up, right? I think I mean, the one we have today, FlyQuest Challengers, Immortals Challengers. I'm
Yep.
not just saying that because we're here today. I'm really interested in that one, especially because we will still have Bolulu showing up. As for matches coming in the next few days, C9 TLC is an interesting one. That's going to be exciting because TLC, I mean, Wildcard is no slouch. Like, despite their falter towards the end, they were a difficult team to face, and I mean, they proved that, taking TLC to 3 games. Cloud9 being the best team we have should make that one exciting. And EGC AoE, because AoE have also been a team not doing as well as we expected, and they're a team that, I mean, you talk about second lives, CLGF, AoE, and depending on how today's matches go, other provisional teams as well are going to, we have to start having that relegation discussion where if they fall early, the bottom 4 provisional teams are going to go to that promotion relegation tournament.
So my eyes, I agree with you, B. I'm on C9 C versus TLC. More because, you know, these orgs do have a history of performing when it does come to playoffs. They did last Proving Grounds as well. Team Liquid is always something to really watch during playoffs because I feel like this is when the cogs start to turn the most, when they need to make those most critical adaptations. Last year, their Immortals game where they almost fell out and came back to take the entirety of the championship. It has me interested to see what this team is going to do on their adaptations as they get through this bracket. And of course, Wildcard being down there, I think they have a pretty good deep run they can make in the lower bracket before they do get some good competition coming their way.
Sure.
And as you both hit it on, one of our more exciting matches of the day is going to be Immortals Challengers against FlyQuest Challengers. That is our second series, but we still have one series to kick off our day today, and that is going to be 100 Thieves Challengers taking on Team Liquid first. And, you know, as we get into the lineups and the series overall, we know that 100 Thieves Challengers is very favored in this series. You know, we're not going to dance around it at all. But if we have to explain why 100 Thieves Challengers are so favored. And apart from Team Liquid first having to do a lot of roster swaps, you know, throughout the season, but 100 Thieves Challengers, they have been one of our stronger teams and one of our more experienced teams across the board here, Beat.
Right. I mean, the biggest reason for that is, like, we look at the top lane, especially with the changes coming through here. Sniper, of course, had to step down due to health reasons. And we have Darshan coming in, who, I mean, like you said, very experienced player. We look at Unforgiven, a player we hype up for good reason. He's been styling on every other marksman in the league, just coming off of being LEC All-Pro last summer. And you even have Destiny, who spent his time around the scene as well, and over on an OS too. Pretty around the block. I mean, really the only player on 100 Thieves side, if you look at the roster, is Yukino, who is the new one. And I mean, to be fair, we talk about how, one, he has developed so much this split alone. People across both the orgs he's worked with, not just 100 Thieves, even on Evil Geniuses, I talk about how he has such a good attitude for growth, such a good attitude towards developing. He's basically the model player when it comes to development.
And Yukino's a lot of fun to watch. Even off of the NACL, some of the streams I've seen, some of the old Sniper streams, the man path's like an absolute lunatic sometimes.
A little
he can
bit.
be so damn bloodthirsty. And, you know, as he came into this season, for the most part, he's been staying rather safe in the draft. He's been staying to a lot of comfort, and he's been performing really, really well with it. A lot of his early game stats, he's top 3 in his role. Notably, his ability to get first blood is really up there when it comes to a lot of his companions. What I'm looking for. Colleagues? The word for
Peers,
opposing junglers.
teammates,
Peers, thank you.
teammates.
Peers.
There you go.
Peers. That's the word I'm
Gotcha.
looking for. But yeah. Basically, Yukino has very, very good early games. We had questions about his hands and his ability to take a lot of these challenges with a lot of other junglers. For the most part, he's been improving week to week. I think week 4 was one of his biggest booms, and he's been improving ever since.
Now let's roll into those clips as well and see what you're talking about. I know that you were very, very excited to really go in further detail about this as well, Eric.
Yeah, I mean, I'm always excited when it comes to like these young prospects hopping in. You know, 100 Thieves do have a history of that when it comes to Tenacity and Bucio. So getting Yukino and Sniper in there, you know, it's a shame with what's happened to Sniper. You know, it is what it is. It's unfortunate. Life happens. But we still have Yukino there, and we still have pop-off performances, not just from Yukino and the Youngbloods, but of course of Unforgiven. You can see right there that pentakill that he was able to pick up. Not many can really contest this marksman.
And we've already addressed it before. If when we had discussions about our most valuable prospect award, as we are starting to wind down those conversations and getting ready to release teasers about some of our candidates that we finally went with, Unforgiven was a player that we felt, man, this guy is...
He's not a prospect.
He's not a prospect. He's too good. He's already been developed. He was LEC All-Pro last year. He went to Worlds as well.
He's good.
If we had a most valuable player award, Unforgiven would get it hands down. No, like
100%.
100%. He is the best player in our league. And then, of course, their opponents, Team Liquid Honda first, where we did have a roster swap, LJX coming in about halfway through the season. And this roster, there has been some bright moments, although this... I think when we look at provisional teams, there's been provisional teams like Wildcard, Fear, and AoE Gold with the purpose of winning Challengers League. And Team Liquid First is one of the rosters where the purpose is to develop players and give them more time. And as a result, they have been one of our weaker teams across the board. And so the deck is kind of stacked against them for 100 Thieves Challengers, but there is a couple of exciting things to look out here for on this squad.
Yeah, the thing with TLF is, like, this is Team Liquid's first shot at a third-string team. They focused on development. I mean, we keep talking about this is a development league, and we've seen some bright moments here, especially from the top jungle pairing of Surdy and City. Hey, things haven't been all sunshine and rainbows for them because of the roster issues that you mentioned, Mark. You have Surdy, who we know is a very standout player on this team, but the meta shifted away from the top side, and LJX, the newer player, there's more pressure on him just because of how impactful AD carry is as a role at the moment, and he's getting there. Has looked a lot better since his first day. Aspect has been performing better than we saw in the first couple of weeks as well. So there is definitely some promise here, even if things don't go well for them in this match, the next match, and spring split overall.
Yeah.
And it's important to look at how they've been getting a lot of their wins. You did allude to it just a second ago, that they do play over towards that top side. Versus Wildcard, they did draft for a lot of comfort. Surdy gets a solo kill. City plays just ruthlessly snowball him. Very similar thing with Team Liquid Challengers. Fear was one of the times where we saw a little bit of a shift. Surdy fell by the wayside, so Aspect had to pick up some extra weight to pick that team back up. But it does show you they have a very set playstyle that they tend to go to. The bottom side of the map tends to facilitate the top side of the map.
Yeah, and the other thing that we want to address as we are coming to a close on, or as we've gotten into playoffs and some of our provisional teams are already being sent into the lower bracket, when we get to our relegation and promotion tournament after the conclusion of the playoffs tournament, it will be the bottom 4 finishing provisional teams that will have to play in that tournament against, I don't remember how many of the seeds from the NACL OQs. I think
top four versus bottom 4.
Oh, yeah, top 4 versus bottom 4. So an 8-team tournament, and that is going to be one of the conversations where no matter how far some of these provisional teams go, if you're still in the bottom 4 placement, you will have to play in that tournament to keep your spot in upcoming Challengers League splits, or at least going into the summer split. And so Team Liquid First, they know that that could be one of those teams. They're going to try and do their damnedest to push as far as they can. 100 Thieves Challengers is going to be a tough opponent. This is the upper bracket match, though, so they still have one lifeline. And 100 Thieves Challengers, we already know, coming into with this fresh roster swap of having Darshan step in for Sniper during this time, if Team Liquid First might want to play towards somewhere. I mean, Darshan is no stranger to being weak side or having a lot of players trying to camp him, especially during his days on C9 Challenger. But with that, I believe draft is underway for y'all, so beat down Destrux, have a good cast, and I'll see you on the other side.
See you on the other side, Rafa. We get ready for this matchup. I'm very excited for this one. Team Liquid First versus 100 Thieves Challengers. Now, historically, Team Liquid First has had some pretty good upsets. They got one against Wildcard, TLC, and Fear. We talked about all of those. Those are top of the end teams to have. But Beat, we were talking a little bit before this game. You believe that they don't have as much upset potential because of the way the meta has shifted.
So the big thing is that they can't get upsets the way they did before, because a lot of the game wins that they got and a lot of the most exciting things we've seen from them are Surdy picking something like the Fiora and split pushing till the end of time, and it manages to work out really well because he gets super fed. I mean, it is some good stuff that they have put out, but it doesn't really work that way anymore, at least from where we've moved towards the meta. I mean, tank tops have already been creeping their way up. in priority. We're on 13-5 now too, which is where grasp has been changed. It is a lot worse for fighters because they can't use that healing in the laning phase, so people like Jax, Fiora suffer for it, and you just have so much utility as a tank. That's why even before this patch came through, Surdy was leaning more towards tanks, playing things like Cho'Gath, playing things like Scion, putting more pressure on people like Aspect and LJX to step it up.
Yeah, and you know what? That plays to the way Surdy has been looking to improve upon the season. At the start of the season, he said he wanted to become one of the more adaptable top laners in the NACL.
Yes.
For the most part, his champion poll has reflected that. I believe he's second in top laners for most champions played at 14 currently. So we'll see if he can find that adaptation, because it's a very critical one in this playoffs right now. So the draft does go through. We got all our bans out of the way. Marksman heavy for TL first. Really going for some of those pocket picks. 100 Thieves Challengers banning away. Annie will be the first pick for 100 Thieves Challengers.
There it is, and it could just be setting up to put Unforgiven on something he hasn't played a lot of lately this split, and maybe remove that support Ashe option there. And it's very possible that we're going to see LJX pull out something like the Varus. It's been one of his more comfort picks so far, and he's had some decent laning phases as a result. So if you remove some of these champions where Unforgiven can have that insane late game carry potential or early laning phase dominance, it might make things a little easier.
Now, this first pick coming in for TL first, you can technically flex this around top and jungle. If you want to get spicy, Sligo did flex it over to the mid lane on that wildcard game that we talked about yesterday. Go watch that VOD. It's a very good one. For TL first, they are going to lock in the Varus. This is something LJX has been playing a lot of. Kind of plays a little bit similar to what Mia was doing on the Ashe, more specifically for the pick and zone control that the Enchanted Crystal Arrow give. You get something a little bit similar with the Chain of Corruption.
Yeah, so you do have that CC, you do have a good laning phase overall, and I like the Gragas because, of course, flex potential, and also your ability to break up fights is going to be super important. I mean, you see the Annie, you see the Aphelios already giving us these hints, these inklings that 100 Thieves Challengers are looking to play that more front-to-back style here, and it's rough because all these AD carry bands come through, and Aphelios still makes it through the draft, Eric, and he has just shot up in priority ever since people figured out BT first is crazy good.
And it's Unforgiven.
Also the Thresh buff.
It's Unforgiven. And, yeah, Thresh is there.
Yep.
Say his name and he shall appear. Thresh Aphelios will be the bottom lane. And it's a very strong bot lane for 100 Thieves Challengers.
On
two very capable laners for 100 Thieves Challengers. But look at this Heimer hover coming out for Team Liquid first.
Really
Not
good.
locked in just yet, but, ooh, beat. Are you holding with bated breath?
I am. I really like that pick, Eric, just because of the fact that, I mean, the turrets can intercept the hook. You have the range into melee. This is a good way for you to get control of that lane over the bottom side of the map. Get that push. Allow TL first to stack dragons, which we know is such an important strategy these days. And it is going to be locked in for Rovex.
Yeah, so does give some counterplay over to that bottom lane. Going to be well needed, as we said. If Unforgiven gets unchecked, it's very hard to stop the momentum that he's able to acquire. First phase of the draft, we're going to have bottom lanes revealed. Mid lane over for 100 Thieves Challengers. Pretty will be playing that Annie. Still figuring out where that Gragas is going to go. That's the nice thing right now. You still have that technical triple flex for Team Liquid first.
For sure, and at 100 Thieves Challengers, likely just going to go for the solo lane bans, leaning towards the top side. We don't see a lot of Gragas top, despite the flex potential absolutely being there, and that doesn't strike me as a Surdy champ necessarily, especially because even though City does lean more towards the farming junglers, things like the Kindred, the Karthus, and stuff like that. When you have a comp like this, you need something with some CC in your kit so you can have that impact early game. I would like the Gragas. Sejuani is still available, worth noting, even though, again, not exactly a City champion. 100 Thieves is actually looking to ban the City champions out of the picture.
I'm looking around at some of those Surdy champions. Fiora, you already mentioned it before, is one of the bigger picks. That champion pool has been expanded quite a bit. Cassante, Gnar, Renekton.
Oh, true.
A lot of champions still in the pool for Surdy to reach into. The ban does come through. We're targeting the jungle pools right now for both sides.
Yeah, the Cassante is actually an interesting one since you bring it up. What I like about the champ still, despite the nerfs, is that ability to, you play well into tanks and lane, and your ability to isolate AD carries or just any squishy members that you want to be getting on top of here. So that's what I'm hoping for, especially J-Span tells me that 100 Thieves are also looking for a tank top on their side for Darshan.
Right, now waiting for that first pick to come out. This is going to show a lot of what Team Liquid is intending. The Graves locked in means that Gragas is not going to the jungle. We do have a solo lane flex coming in. City going to be playing that carry jungling on top of it.
Yeah, and this is something I was kind of hinting at yesterday, because remember 13.5, a lot of jungle changes came through. The two of them are the whole thing against making counter jungling harder, out of the picture. It's much easier to steal camps away again and punish people overstaying on parts of the map. And also, you get a little bit more gold from every camp now. So that farming style is a little bit better than it was before. And we were already seeing champs like the Graves come through. So City Witty still going for what we usually know him for, and if he can get ahead, he can have a lot of impact this game.
Yeah, that's the thing. Even if the meta has taken away a lot from that topside power, TLF, it wasn't just about Surdy, it was about City as well, and the carry potential he could bring. Lots of carries in his repertoire, and Graves is going to be the one he takes to the map, but a very, very big front line now coming out. Sion locked in for 100 Thieves Challengers.
He just Cho'Gath, no?
As well as some carry potential with that Viego. I would like to see a Cho'Gath. We've been hyping it up. I've been on that train. I think Cho'Gath is one of the more busted ones alongside Aurelion Sol.
Sure, and the reason, wow, it's the instant Olaf. You know what? I actually really like that 1-2 for Surdy. We talked about how he has to lean away from those big carry performances, but that isn't exactly true in his eyes. Gonna be a nice pick because, I mean, one, you're gonna have a great time into the Sion, and you have a lot of short range people, and you have people who are trying to CC you, and Olaf does not give a damn about any of that.
Doesn't care about crowd control, and he can put on some of the spiciest fights. You know, we talked a little bit in the pre-show about Faisal. We've seen the 2v1s he's done on Olaf, and Surdy is a very capable top laner over playing that Olaf. It's going to be an exciting one. I know a lot of people don't like to play carry matchups into Surdy specifically. Sol is one of those players who's like, if I'm going against Surdy, I'm not going to play carry. I'm going to play tank. I'm going to play weak side. Get me away for 1v1ing him.
Yeah, 100%. You might not have a choice with a lock-in like this there for Team Liquid first. And so the only concern I have for TL's comp is you have very little CC. So you're really just relying on the Gragas here for Aspect. You're relying on LJX with the Chain of Corruption, but there is a clear game plan here for Team Liquid first, and that's what we wanted to see from our struggling provision teams. Ideas that just try, because even if you go to the relegation tournament, you can still make it back into Challengers League, and that's what we need to see here. Just show us that you can make it back.
Time is now. Keep in mind, this is double elimination playoff bracket, so losing here doesn't mean you've lost your life. You do get a second chance, but you know, it's nice to keep that. It gives you much more of a motivational boost, less stress to fight it back from the lower bracket.
100%. And so far, nothing really going on too crazy. I think we already said it, but just in case, why don't you spam in chat who you think's going to win? 100C for 100C and TLF for TLF. And if you want to join the conversation, if you want to tell Victor, our one of our observers, that those cool intros in League Director are really nice, use the hashtag NACL on Twitter, because those are really cool and really nice.
I'd like one that just like kind of rotates around Kangus's head.
Yeah, you would like that.
I would really like that. You know, if we can get that in the future, we'll get more budgets. We'll get action cams around the casters.
We'll table that for now.
Let me bring the topic up to Darshan, because we didn't really break into him too much. Very experienced player. I mean, everyone already knows 2 LCS titles. Was the first time NA got to an international finals through CLG. Darshan was part of that roster. I remember Tim Sevenhusen, he ranks him as the number 3rd in top laners to ever compete into the LCS. Those are all big stats right there, but what people don't know is he has spent a good amount of time in Academy, now known as NACL. It's what we were rebranded to. Did do a lot of big moves into that space, was on Cloud9 last year. One of the more stable top laners, was a great top laner for Shaden to start to develop on.
Yeah, I recall the big thing I recall about Darshan from last year was a Lee Sin 1v4. Whether or not, you know, he played incredibly or people ran into him one at a time, I'll let you decide and go back and find it. But that play sticks into my mind. Yeah, plays a play. It sticks out into my mind. Not going to have that same carry potential here. You are going to be that front line making space for Unforgiven. I mean, that standout player on this roster who we keep hyping up, because he's definitely lived up to the hype and then some here in the NACL.
And of course, more importantly, it gives Yukino stability in that top side, gives Yukino experience over on that top side. You don't got to worry too much about trying to adjust someone new in. Darshan should slot in much better, is used to the stress of playoffs and whatnot. But look at this, City Witty now looping around, did go for a deep invade to get those 2 wards into the camps of Yukino.
Keeping an eye on him is going to be super important. You're playing Graves' the City, so you want to farm, you want things nice and slow for these early minutes, and you don't want to actually do too much skirmishing unless there's an obviously winning play here. At Yukino, though,
He pathed around him, didn't he?
Sort of. He started the Wolves and he did a bit of a reverse clear, so he's actually going to try and show up on the top side. Problem is, Surdy knows he has the information, he has the wave in, and he's pretty safe to just go ahead and try to back off once he forces these 3 minions into the turret. The thing too is because Yukino, we know that player is able to facilitate his teammates, his laners, with a lot of the early game picks like the Vi, the Sejuani, things like that. Now in the Viego, you have that scaling option, but you still have the early game impact. And it's interesting because this is a bit more of a mechanical champion, and he's that player where we didn't see a lot in terms of mechanics from someone like him. So now that he has this opportunity, he's got to perform on it.
That's where it gives me a little bit of worry for City Witty. Team Liquid First have been a more consistent team. And when I say that, I mean for better or for worse. Usually when they get a gold lead, they are able to hold on to that and close out some of the games. The thing is, they're kind of too far in between. If they fall behind around 13 minutes, they haven't ever come back from a lot of those deficits around that point of the game.
Wow,
so,
I'm so glad you brought that up, because I forgot to write this down, but I wrote it down for yesterday's notes, because you know what 100 Thieves win percentage is when they're ahead at 15 minutes?
What is it?
It's like 94%, the highest in the league. Number 2 is at 88%, which is...
this adds to the point, B. This adds to the point.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
much,
Like, as soon as you said that, I was like, oh my god, I have the number for this. I'm like, it is unreal. It is 94.1%.
All right, well, trying to get that early lead. They're going to try and find it into the bottom lane. Able to get stunned on LJX. Beautiful cleanse to not get locked up for too long. Overall, successful gank for Yukino. Gets both sums.
Yeah, that's a big deal. I mean, kind of punishing the fact that LJX and Rovex have been able to push out this lane so far.
Hey. Ooh, body slam.
Nice,
Aspect.
the response.
Beautiful on the prediction. Reads the flash and follows it right on through with the body slam. That's going to get first blood for Team Liquid First.
It looked like a response, which is even more impressive. Manages to finish that animation, get pretty out of the picture, and now he gets to just recall. That lane is going to stay on his side of the lane. And that's a good advantage here so far. Like I said, City only looking for ganks so far when it's really easy, because he's looking to farm. But look at this, pretty half health. The way he's trying to get this wave in, City just could not resist himself, and he does a nice job avoiding the ward that was in the bush.
Oh, that was beautiful from Aspect. Aspect has kind of been sleeper onto this.
Even better.
Onto the squad. Basically, a lot of the games, you know, you do have Team Liquid First playing towards that top side with their dynamic duo Surdy and City. But as I was saying during the pregame, when things go awry and you need Aspect to clutch it out, he is a little bit more dependable for this team to find their secondary carry, their third carry, I guess I would say. His Rise game was one of the more phenomenal ones.
Yeah, I was thinking of that too. Oh, Surdy, I'm pretty sure he just goes for the... Yeah, he's just going to try and get him.
Just
It's
Olaf things,
Olaf
man.
things.
Yeah.
Not
One
literally,
brain cell
man.
together, man.
What else? Casters together strong, man. That's just how it be, sir. That's the thing about this early game. Like, he can just run you down. You have that constant pressure, and he's managed to avoid ganks. It's so important because he's not taking the teleport. Went for the flash ghost. And it just means that you have more play potential. The thing with teleport ghost carries flash over the wall. Well, your play's over.
Now I'm looking at summoner spells. Pretty is going to be down flash. Just something that you can play around because Aspect is level 7. Explosive cast, great tool to set up a lot of those ganks there. I think Yukino is going to try to be the first one to the punch over here, clearing out that vision and putting some presence towards that end. City Witty's far from that side of the map, but does have that full jungle clear, so we should see a reset soon.
You're right. You can see it. Well, junglers so far, besides the brief interactions they've had with lanes, have been farming a lot. Big thing for me too is this bottom lane. We talked about it before, how there's not a lot of CC really on this bottom side of the map. You're really leaning on Aspect. You're really leaning on LJS post 6. So that vulnerable period. Oh, hold on a second.
Oh, this was interesting. Okay, not spotted out, but now gonna know. Still, body slam comes in. Explosive pass. There's that combo. They're trying to get Pretty. They know he's down to flash. He doesn't have a way to get out of there, but the damage Pretty's able to bring back is a lot. Now can Yukino return the kill? Ultimate goes out. Yukino will take down City Witty. Going for the double kill. Yukino will be the equalizer in the mid lane for the Thieves.
Really nicely done there to pick up the double. They do lose Pretty in the process, but he's still able to set Yukino up for the play, and getting a lead on this Viego is going to be a problem. That vulnerability we were just talking about here, where you don't have a lot of ways to peel. Once Annie, Viego, these kind of champions get on top of you, they know this is happening as City and Aspect too. That's why you see the flash where it is, but City actually sets up Pretty for an easy Tibbers because they group up. They get him, but the big thing here is that Yukino, I mean, really nice flash here to dodge some of that damage, and then is just able to very easily clean this up.
You know, I never thought about the interaction between Graves and Annie, and how frustrating it can be to try and actually get autos on Annie if she puts that Tibbers down into the right spot.
Yeah.
Man, that could be a pain in the backside for City Witty, but still, control coming out for Team Liquid first on this top side means that City will get that Rift Herald.
Yeah, and that's important too, because you want to be able to continue getting gold into your pockets for City, for Surdy. Because we talk about when this TLF team does well, a lot of it is City and Surdy really lighting up the Rift. Of course, Aspect lately has really been having an impact as well. And they just so far on the TLF side, they're getting a lot of what they want here. Maybe you don't want that mid lane play to happen the way it has been, but look at 30. Herald has been secured. City can take away these camps. And with that wave constantly being forced under Darshan's turret, and with that information that Yukino is certainly on the bottom side of the map, this is a Herald play through and through for TLF.
But it will be matched in the bottom side. 100 Thieves stealing away the camp for the time being. It is a hard bot lane to dive if Yukino does go for this. So yeah, not actually going to follow through on that. Instead, it's just going to be matching the counter jungling that's currently coming out from City Witty. I want to see where that Rift Herald is going to go. I do believe it's going to be topside as well. But again, we did talk about Aspect. Does have a lead at the moment, 2-1-0. Wouldn't hurt too much to keep this Gragas lead snowballing.
Right. Seems like City agrees with you. He's in the area. But there isn't really going to be an opening. Ultimately, you have this wave coming. Oh, wow. So he is going to drop it. And Aspect, does he finish that recall?
See,
he does. So all those...
That's exclusively on City, right?
That's exclusive. No, it's... They share 2 plates, so he got it.
What's going on over here?
What?
Oh, showdown between 30 and Darshan. Throw it back to last year. The way they're swinging right now. Now City Witty looking to slide into the brush. 30, Axe comes in. Darshan does have the flash, doesn't have the ultimate anymore. Should be able to escape this nonetheless. Just going to crash the wave into the tower.
And that's the big thing here. You got the ults, things got a little spicy there. But everyone's going to be able to walk away from this one. Gold has been even so far. TLF have been trading back and forth with 100 Thieves so far. Surdy actually staying. Wants to push in another wave before he goes for the recall. Again, no teleport to play with. Darshan has that advantage over him. Wants to make sure he has the best wave state when he goes back to base.
And City had absolute control of that quadrant of the jungle, so Surdy, even with low health, can stay over towards that top side and push in the wave. Yep. They should be aware that Yukino is over towards this bottom lane, trying to set up something. LJX and Rovex are playing pretty far back.
They're playing safe. I respect they have that ward on the bottom brush too to avoid any lane gank. And honestly, LJX and Rovex, they've been doing well, absorbing a lot of pressure on this bot side. Yukino's been here several times now, has been putting more attention on this bottom side of the map, and it's a Felios Thresh, of course you would. But all it's cost LJX is some summoner spells. He's been keeping up. Overall, though he is down in farm, he is going for that poke build, so he has cheaper items, and you saw the damage that he was doing earlier on in the lane, and that just continues to be true.
Trying to go for the bait right now is City Witty over in this bottom lane. It seemed like Rovex is not there as he hides in that brush. Explosive Cask in the mid lane. Aspect just getting some harassment and clearing out the wave. Gang still not started in the bottom lane. Yukino's moving over towards this mid lane. And even with the bottom lane rotating out from 100 Thieves Challengers,
Still here.
this is such a weird exchange now. City Witty playing the long con and Unforgiven knows.
That is an incredible read. He's able to force City out. He spent so much time here as well.
Wow, yeah.
And gets nothing for it, essentially. And it's tough, too. Now he has to deal with Yukino walking his way in the jungle. Unforgiven Destiny do have a remove if things get scrappy, but everyone's just going to walk away. And I mean, TLF, they're doing a good job trading. They're being really proactive this game, and they've managed to pick up kills with successful plays. It's going to be hard, though, because, again, Unforgiven has such a good front line in front of him, and he already has that Bloodthirster finished. He's already really starting to come online as this Aphelios. So Poke, a little less reliable as long as he has access to a wave. You're really depending on people like Surdy, on Aspect to get past this front line. Use things like your ultimate is Surdy, your ultimate is Aspect to displace members of 100 Thieves so you can actually get on top of this Aphelios.
It's going to be a challenge, though. Destiny provides so much protection being on this Thresh.
Yeah.
Just some good possessioning does a lot of work. Destiny now coming out into the mid lane, chases Aspect away, trying to roam out a little bit more now that he has those Swifty boots, can make his way across this map in a more timely manner, and wants this presence to really be felt. I mean, Thresh roaming out is one of the more classic champions to really just start demolishing the Rift.
Right, and I like the Swifties for one of two reasons. I mean, one, Destiny agrees. Not a lot of CC he has to worry about, so no need for the Merc Treads. And you get the in-combat movement speed, meaning that he has a lot of range to contend with, and that movement speed, that slow resist, is going to help him navigate these team fights a little bit better. So squishy members like LJX, Rovex do have to be careful in these team fights, because Destiny will have a bit of an easier time getting on top of them.
As both these teams start to move around, I see Team Liquid first more focusing onto the mid lane and piling up over there. Meanwhile, same thing can be said for 100 Thieves Challengers just coming from the bot side to get that priority onto the Dragon. They'll be the first ones into the river right here. As they try and fight for some vision, City Witty will get control of that, has control word placed. Teleport now going to be called out. They're getting Aspect to join in. So Team Liquid first are looking for a fight right now, and they got some good team fight tools. Chain of Corruption, Explosive Cast, they do a lot in these skirmishes.
They need to go big, though, Eric. They need to catch someone like Pretty and Unforgiven. Those are the two who need to get out of the picture.
That hurts right there. Chain of Corruption goes off, and that's the go button for Darshan. Slams right into the face of Surdy. Ragnarok will deny the crowd control. Aspect jumps in.
No
It takes down Yukino. Throws out the explosive cast. Aspect showing up big for Team Liquid first, but can they grab more? No, they're just happy with that, but that is a win for TLF.
You get a dragon, you get a kill, you get summoner spells. It's everything you could hope for, and then some. Really nicely done there from Aspect to see that opportunity onto Yukino, who was a little bit forward, thinking he only had to contend with City Witty. So we're going to see it again in this replay. The big thing here is Darshan comes in with that unstoppable onslaught, and that forces City into the pit. And that gives Yukino this confidence. Look at where he is relative to everyone else. He moves from the clump, he goes in, and Aspect knows immediately. This is the go button.
Aspect spotted out Yukino trying to hop onto that Drake. And City Witty, beautiful positioning to not be in danger and bait Yukino into walking up to him. And that gives Team Liquid first. Good little win right there. It's still a lot more they need to get done. And that's what they're trying to do as they'll rotate over to the Rift Herald being started up. Aspect trying to dance around Darshan. 4 members of Team Liquid first around this Rift Herald, but not pulling it out just yet.
And this has been a big turnaround for Aspect this split. In the beginning, with the experience we saw from this guy, we expected better. And when he was underperforming, it was, disappointing, quite frankly. And the fact that he's been able to turn it around towards the back half has been amazing. The fact that TLF are playing more towards him than I've ever seen this split in this game has been great, and it's paying off. Aspect has had so many good plays in this early game already, and it's been a big contributor to why Team Liquid first are in a lead right now.
That was, the big topic. If Team Liquid first, struggle with some of their carries in Surdy and City Witty, is Aspect the next one to step up? So far, it's been a big yes. 3-1-0 on the Gragas. Chain of Corruption gonna go wide over in the mid lane. Again, that engage still gonna go down.
As the Swifties, man. If he had any other boots, yeah, he's too fast. It's understandable. You're gonna misjudge these things. I like that they're looking. I like that LJX is looking, especially, I mean, another player who's come pretty far. He's only been here a couple weeks, but you know the most important thing for me, Eric?
What?
And I said this when we were having our MVP discussion with newer players. It's confidence. I don't care if you're messing up. I don't care if you're struggling. But if you're trying stuff as a newer player, that's that good.
You know, and LJX has been playing to what his team needs. A lot of Varus play still has that effect that's very similar to what we were talking about that Mia, when she was on the roster, was bringing for that squad, and that is facilitating that zone control, facilitating that team fight. Sure, LJX not having the best laning stats, that's okay. He doesn't need to lane well for TLF to win. He needs to facilitate team fights well.
I mean, look at Unforgiven, just standing up so far. He knows Destiny's in the area. He knows very little CC with him, for him to contend with. I love that confidence. I mean, from a player of his skill playing here in the Challengers League, you expect nothing less. And that's why you see him really start to come ahead at the CS lead against LJX. He's getting closer to that IE. That second item spike's going to be ginormous, Eric, and he's gonna be a player to watch for in these team fights.
All right, fight coming out. Aspect trying to catch Yukino. Explosive cast knocks him to a different direction. Not into the fight. It's enough to stop this invade. City Witty will be able to scare his own red buff.
Yeah, I like that they went for that. They dropped the smoke screen so they don't see Aspect come over the wall. And I mean, you can use the exploding cask. Like, the cooldown's relatively short, and there's nothing to fight for. So it's TLF constantly looking. Even though they have lost that small gold lead they've gotten for themselves, they're keeping up the activity, which was what we wanted from this team.
And they have a slight gold lead right now. This is, they're playing it slow. It's a little bit of a slow cook coming out, but, you know, it's not from a lack of looking for plays, and that is the big theme for Team Liquid First. They're being very proactive on this map currently and keeping things relatively even. The only thing is, I still get worried about the ticking time bomb that is going to be Unforgiven in the late stages.
That's right. We've seen examples, though, of TLF breaking up these team fights. Because of their comp, they do have to keep getting creative with it to get on top of Unforgiven. But like we saw in that second Dragon fight, Eric, if they can keep that up, it is very possible to deal with this Aphelios. You get on top of him, you displace him with what CC you have, especially if you land a Chain of Corruptions, that would be huge. But really, I'm looking at Aspect to break up these team fights with the Exploding Cask. It's possible, but 100 Thieves, of course, are doing their damnedest to make sure that does not happen.
Dragon spawns in 5 seconds. 100 Thieves Challengers are the first ones to set up over in the river. From 2 different angles, you got Team Liquid first. Serdi is going to be on the flank right here, but already starting up the Drake will be 100 Thieves Challengers. Taking a look at some of the summoner spells. Pretty much have all flashes up, all ultimates ready to go. And Team Liquid First will not play the game of 100 Thieves Challengers. 100 Thieves Challengers might force their hand, though. Darshan runs in. Unstoppable Force comes out. The Unstoppable Force going to pull him right back in with the explosive cast. Darshan goes low, but does not go down.
So I like what I saw from both sides here. TLF ignored the Dragon. They just have people in the bottom brush to make sure no one gets flanked. But realistically, they just went for the mid-tier 1 turret. In exchange, they stalled the soul. They don't have to worry about that for 10 more minutes. But Darshan, even though it cost the splash, good heads-up play to make sure that doesn't happen.
Oh, out comes Timbers! Pretty!
Whoa!
And we'll find the pick onto Rovex, and Unforgiven cashes in. Takes that form. Yukino throws a grenade right on back, and snapping back is going to be the Thieves.
So even though it's a last-second Herald play about to expire, Pretty helps make that play valuable, committing the flash he lost earlier defensively. And, I mean, as Annie has a lot of opportunities to play make in this game, and Pretty being that player who he's had a very consistent style since last year. Mages, the usual control mage stuff. I might need to hold that thought because we got something going on. No flash, remember.
Oh yeah, Darshan's cornered right now, but City Witty is starting to run low. Lots of full health bars for the rest of Team Liquid First, and they'll deliver right over to Darshan.
Wow.
Explosive cask. Darshan filling it for the second time.
Yeah, really nicely done. Darshan was looking for the play, but it's looking like he got played instead. Won't be able to get much more out of it, but kills onto City are kills you can be very happy about as Team Liquid First.
You know, and some of the timings that 100 Thieves Challengers are having are pretty nice. Keep in mind, Pretty got that pick, had to use his flash for it, but guess what? That cooldown's going to be right back up when Dragon does spawn if they need to contest for that Drake. So 100 Thieves, they still got timers working in their direction.
They do, and they are stacking their way to that soul. You see, they're getting to a lot of crucial spikes as well. We see what damage Pretty can do at 2 items, but I'm looking at Unforgiven. The Infinity Edge has been built, 1 kill, but he's built up a bounty for himself, and look what he's got going for him here. He's gonna get another turret as well. Like, I actually want to take a look at the gold.
Yeah.
Even though the difference in aggregate is very slight, I have a feeling it's actually a kind of balancing act. Aspect is ahead of Pretty, but Unforgiven is ahead of LJX with the farm, the kill, the turret gold he's been picking up for himself, and that makes it even more important that Team Liquid First can isolate him, break him away from his teammates, and take him out of the fight.
And it's a very tough front line to get through, but one that Team Liquid First have been breaking twice so far in Darshan. A siege now coming up, grenade gonna land. Just setting up into the battle lines right now, getting that old North American classic ARAM beatdown.
Yeah. They're trying really hard. They want to get this tier 1 turret out of the picture, and it's important because we value this turret, so Team Liquid First can go ahead and push into the side, and it's gonna happen. We value that vision so that a team can push that mid wave in. It's easier to set up vision deeper on their side of the map. They're committing a lot for it. They're losing gold and XP because they're committing all 5 to these plays, and the risk isn't really paying off because Pretty did a good job pushing in that top wave. And it's tough because Team Liquid First, they haven't taken any turrets out of the picture. From what we've been seeing, their comp is best when they're grouped up. The only one realistically who's really strong in the side lane is going to be Surdy. He can 1v1, he can 2v1 realistically, and that's what we need to see for these couple minutes. Have Surdy push on the bot side by himself, especially with Dragon coming up. There is an opportunity to play for that turret.
Be an absolute side lane menace.
Yeah.
And force 100 Thieves to have to deal with you. Otherwise, Darshan will do that and take down your turret. A solo turret getting picked up by Darshan over into that bottom side. Looking at the timer, we got a minute before Dragon does spawn. That flash for Pretty is going to be up, and when it comes to Annie's, I'm always keeping a close eye on that flash timer because flash tibbers, it's a hard thing to have a reaction time for.
You can't. You just have to stay out of that range overall. You got to split up so you don't get grouped up the way we saw it, and oh my.
Oh, a hook found by Destiny, but not taking the fight. Yukino thinking about it. Let's reconsider. 3 versus 4 is not in my favor.
Yeah, it was a good call. City went for the Gore Drinker and the Black Cleaver, so he's pretty tanky as far as Graves tends to go. You got to be careful. But we're seeing teleports come through. We're seeing the commitment flashes up, like you said, on Pretty. So TLF need to be careful about grouping up too much, but they have to walk into these tight chokes before they can actually contest this Drake.
And this is something 100 Thieves are doing a good job about. They're pushing Team Liquid First out of the river. Oh, the blast plan right there, almost screwing over City Witty. But it means that Team Liquid First are forced into those chokes where the threat of Pretty's Tibbers is always there. Ragnarok gonna come out. Is it gonna be enough for Team Liquid First? They get stunned onto Darshan. A lot of chip damage on Darshan. Pretty goes golden, but that might be the wrong answer. Uses the flash to get away. Turn it around.
Unforgiven.
Darshan's able to bring it with the double kill. Flash into the wall. LJX is low, and Unforgiven will take him down. Now Rovek slain by Yukino, and they're looking for the ace. It doesn't matter. They smeared Team Liquid First on the floor and taking the team fight win.
And TLF, they ignored the Aphelios. Unforgiven, full health, shields on top, was able to free hit. We saw what that 2-item spike has done for him, and we see what that fight does for 100 Thieves Challengers. Not only do they get their soul point, this is the perfect opportunity to get a Baron, break this game wide open, and snatch what was a good early game from TLF.
Just look at how much Darshan is able to soak up before this fight begins, Beat.
And the thing is, too, this is fine. Everything so far is pretty good, but right here, why aren't we looking at Unforgiven? Look, like, this is crazy. We had a good ultimate from Darshan. We got to give a lot of credit for that, but your focus as TLF has to be this Aphelios in these team fights.
Unforgiven is left unchecked. He makes money, man. Saw the pentakill. Zeri 1v5, basically. We'd love to do it on an Aphelios as well. Definitely a very capable champion of getting pentakills on, but already off to the races. 2-0-3 for the All-Pro ADC of the LEC.
And now this game has gotten significantly more difficult for Team Liquid first. Their comp is one that you want to get to objectives first. You want them to walk into you. They've already been struggling with that, but now that they are this far behind in gold, it's going to get even harder because one, you're not getting to objectives first. There's just no way, no how. And two, you're so behind in gold that in terms of raw stats, you are outclassed in every conceivable way. Your only hope is, again, the way your comp works, using CC to catch someone out.
Oh, speaking of
Kind
a
of
catch
like that.
Yeah, Yukino will find it on Rovex. Simple kill right there, Unforgiven. Yeah, never mind the tower shots. I deal more damage. Gonna take down that tower
very
and
healthy.
more gold going over to his pocket. I still want to take a look at that gold of what Unforgiven has in comparison to LJ.
Oh, now I'm scared. I don't know if I want to look anymore. He just got a tier 2, is about to get a tier 3.
Oh,
like, it's got to be something ridiculous. You know what, Eric? Let's take bets. Let's take bets right now. How ahead do you
6K.
think Unforgiven is?
I'll say 6K.
6? Wow, that's crazy. I was going to say 4.
I'm gonna say, yeah, I'm going all the way up.
say 4.
We're going to the
You're going all the
moon.
way-
We're investment
yeah.
banking Unforgiven right now. Ooh, Death Sentence doesn't land on the aspect. Has the body slam
He
to get
would've
over
died.
the wall. Would have been the end right there. And Unforgiven, season inhibitor, wants to did a good how do you do. One more shot. It's deconstructed. Picture in picture, got a fight going out between the top laners. Surdy trying to get the 1v1 against Arshan,
Oh my
but
God.
this Scion has had time to scale. It doesn't matter, you got a lot of life still coming out. Dinner bell rang, trying to time it. Darshan's gonna miss, has the decimating smash flashed out of by Surdy. Surdy healing up, smacking up onto those minions, forces the flash out of Darshan. Decimating smash goes down, but doesn't land on the Surdy once again. He's dancing around these minions, he's healing off of them, and this fight extended it be. Darshan still with the chase. Next smash comes in, but it's the redemption of destiny that puts Surdy into the dirt.
And even if Darshan died, he spends so much time keeping Surdy in the top lane while inhibitor falls, and a second inhibitor is about to be out of the picture as well. Surdy is one of the big ways you get past the front line and deal with someone like Unforgiven. And now he is dead. Now 100 Thieves are teleporting and they're pushing for more.
Yeah, this is looking to be the game-ending push right now. Flay comes in. That Sentence's line on aspect. We'll have to flash out of it. As Team Liquid first try and defend, they're losing everything. Triple inhibs going down. Yukino flashes forward onto City Witty, and he will fall. Tibbers landing right in front of Team Liquid first and chasing them all the way to the respawn. 100 Thieves Challengers, man. They had a rough start to this game. It was back and forth. Team Liquid first looked like they had some life in them. They looked like they had the blows to bring. But 100 Thieves Challengers clutch it out in the mid game, bounce right on back and take over off of the back, off of the income, off of the money of Unforgiven and the damage he can bring.
And through it all, Unforgiven hasn't died once, hasn't blown his flash once. Nothing but domination past 15 minutes here for 100 Thieves Challengers.
One more death sentence to stay true to the name, to give kill number 4 for Unforgiven, ending on a 4-0-4. A great performance. It was a slow one, but once he got cooking, man, it tasted good, B.
And this is from TLF. A lot of what we have seen from them, good early game plans, really just clear ideas of what they want to be doing. But past 15 minutes, the team fight that they ended up losing was heartbreaking for them, especially because their comp was really hard to play from behind.
And they couldn't get onto Unforgiven, as you mentioned, in that Dragon fight, and that just put them too far behind. Game number 1 going over to 100 Thieves Challengers. It is a best of 3, so Team Liquid first can try and find an opportunity to fight back. We're going to throw it over to a quick break. When we return, we'll have the Relic Cry halftime show with Rafa.